It's important because if gender are not participating equally in the development process, we cannot expect the world population together to achieve shared prosperity. We have to do evaluations of what is being done and what is being achieved in order to take course corrections. If we do one big evaluation every 5 years, we quite often find nothing much has changed. Whereas doing this integration will help us give feedback on an ongoing basis, will help generate systematic information across many different subjects of evaluation that help us together understand whether our mindset is shifting and whether we are looking at development from a gender sensitive point of view. We have progressed. We are doing more than we used to do, but there's always more that one can do. You know, there's always something one can learn, one can push the boundaries. From my perspective, one of the big challenges is that a lot of evaluators think that, you know, it's very hard to do, and sometimes it is. It costs a lot more time and money. In an ideal scenario, people would actually understand what are the gender implications of a particular intervention, and then understand from there, how do we generate the evaluation evidence, how do we know what has actually happened and which population groups have been affected and how. In reality, very often our teams bump up against data limitations and say, like, well, we can't make a judgment call because it wasn't planned for, the data wasn't collected. It's very hard to understand what the gender outcomes have been. One is the World Bank Group's commitment to building gender into country strategies and operations from the starting point throughout and at the exit point is a very important aspect, because if the project planning isn't happening, if the monitoring data is not being collected, it makes our life much harder and much more difficult. So that should really get us to a better place. Then on the side of the evaluators, we really have to think about what are some of the methods and techniques that we can use in order to understand better what the distributional effects are. And that's not just distribution among the richer, the top 20% of the population and the bottom 20 or 40% of the population, but also among the genders. There are sometimes very clear indications who is benefiting and who is not, and sometimes it's more subtle and more requires better understanding of what is the situation in the country and how well women can participate, how much men are benefiting or participating more or less than women.